Well, everyone, we get to finally talk about the Apple Watch Series 8 and see how this particular watch holds up in 2024. Now, the thing I will definitely tell you about this particular watch is that it definitely is a pretty important watch when it first came out, and I still think it's a very, very valuable watch with a ton of, features and a ton of just updates that are coming around in the future, and it's kind of like a no-brainer. It's barely 2 years old, so I still think it's completely worth buying. If you want to pick up this watch, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there, and you can help support the channel at the same time. Now, starting off with the outside of the Apple Watch Series 8, this particular watch and most of the watches that came out since the Apple Watch Series 7 have came out in a 41 or a 45 millimeter casing. So the screen size of this thing is very, very large. It covers up almost the whole entire front of this particular watch, and because Apple Watches have this square design, I've always liked the way they looked, and I still think they look and feel so good and so premium. And this is by far one of my most favorite things when I'm going through and buying some sort of Apple Watch. I definitely want it to look like this now, even more than the Apple Watch Series 6 that came out, 2 generations before this thing. The screen gets fairly bright, up to 1000 nits of brightness, which is still very, very good for an Apple Watch, and it still looks like a very, very good display. These Apple Watch panels, even the first Apple Watch screen in my opinion, is still very good. And the Series 8, probably for the average person and even above the average person, will still have a really, really good time with this particular display. Now, on the sides of this particular Apple Watch, you are getting this standard type of, side. It's kind of like a curved side to it. It's not like the Apple Watch Ultra, which is flat. This one is pretty much curved, which still feels very good. You have the digital crown on the side, which acts as just kind of like a, home button kind of in a way. Then you have the, power button as well. So the side button. On the rest of the sides, nothing else, very minimalistic. On the back side, you have your standard charging port, which is still very good. And one thing I like about Apple Watches, the first charging port that came out in the first Apple Watch will still work on this one. So you can go through and just buy that first Apple Watch charger and the latest one, and they're going to be exactly the same thing. So that is something that I actually like about my Apple Watches. The bands, though, is another really cool thing. So much like the charger, the bands will also work from the very first Apple Watch all the way up to the latest Apple Watch. So I'm glad Apple never changed it. The only caveat is that you will need to go and get the Apple Watch size bands. So if you get the bigger Apple Watch or the smaller one, you'll have to make sure that you get the proper, appropriate one. You can't use the smaller one on the bigger one. But other than that, it's a very, very good watch. And especially from the exterior, it still holds up very, very well. It does have some, dust and water resistance as well, IP6X. So if you're getting this thing a little bit wet, or if you're in a very dusty environment, you're probably still going to have a perfectly good time with this particular watch. Now, there are still lots of features with this particular device as well. So from just a feature standpoint, this thing still has that temperature sensor. So it has that electrical heart sensor, and you have that 3rd generation optical heart sensor inside of it too. You have high and low rate heart notifications, irregular rhythm notifications, and an ECG app and sleep stages built in as well. And there's also crash detection and fall detection inside of this watch. So from a safety and health feature, this thing has a ton of features built in right there, which is genuinely a very, very cool thing. So if I'm going through and getting some sort of watch, I definitely like this thing having that type of capability, which is genuinely very awesome. So that right there is a very cool thing going on for this particular watch from that particular perspective. Now, on top of that, you are also getting that S8 chip inside of this particular watch with that W3 wireless chip and an ultra-wide, wideband chip inside of it as well, which is that U1 chip. And I will tell you from a performance perspective, this is still a very, very good watch. I genuinely do think from a lot of things that you're going to end up doing with this particular device, you are going to be getting a very, very good, fast, and powerful watch from this thing. You're not on an everyday basis going through and playing games on your watch. You're not loading up massive applications. There's probably multiple days in a row where I don't even really touch my Apple Watch and do anything beyond than just either checking notifications or tracking a workout. At the very high max, that's usually what I'm doing. Maybe I'm calling somebody or maybe responding to somebody via text, on my Apple Watch. But beyond that, I'm not really doing anything insane. And I use an Apple Watch Series 4. The Apple Watch Series 8 is going to be even better. It's going to be an even better device in every single perspective. And that right there is another very good thing going on for this particular watch. So I do like this watch a lot because of that. And I will tell you, in my personal opinion, the Apple Watch Series 8 is still completely worth buying for sure. It's a very good watch. It still has a lot of capability. If you're planning on picking it up, I think this thing still has a long future ahead of it. It is a very, very good watch. Is it perfect? No watch is perfect, but I do think this thing still has a long future ahead of it, and it's still getting software updates a long time. So I think it's kind of a no-brainer. I would definitely recommend buying this watch in 2024. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that will mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.